Tracy E. Gilchrist, and this is Equal Entertainment. Country music icon Dolly Parton is going to give people something to talk about around the Thanksgiving table. Parton will be performing at halftime when the Dallas Cowboys play the Washington Commanders on Thanksgiving. She's expected to perform some of her biggest hits along with a song or two from her upcoming album, Rockstar, her 49th studio album. Parton will also ring the Salvation Army holiday bell to jumpstart the holiday giving season. Cowboy fans are also hoping her performance will help them overcome a run of bad luck. The Cowboys have a better record when big stars perform at halftime. Britney Spears says she felt like a child robot. That's how the singer describes her 13-year conservatorship in her memoir, The Woman in Me. The conservatorship ended in November of 2021. It gave Spears back power over her financial and medical decisions. The 41-year-old singer told People magazine she's ready to open up about her life story. In another revelation, Spears says she dated Justin Timberlake, became pregnant with his baby, but had an abortion because she says he wasn't ready to be a father. The Woman in Me is due out on October 24th. The full Out100 list of honorees is out right now, and this year's Icon of the Year award is going to musician Brandi Carlile. I had the privilege of profiling Brandi for this year's cover. I recently had a conversation with Cover to Cover host Stephen Walker about her legacy as an artist and an advocate. Brandi has been making music since the mid-2000s, and she has been unabashedly out as a lesbian, as a queer woman. She's been out in that way for so long, and she created a foundation with her musical partners, Tim and Phil Hanseroth, the Looking Out Foundation, where her wife, Catherine Shepard, is the director of that. So they are like this family business of raising money and making sure that they're sending funds to people in need. And they do that for queer organizations, but also for immigration and like just across the board. I was actually at the Greek Theater here in Los Angeles the day after Roe v. Wade was overturned, and she had done a show there the night before. And it's one of those things, I brought a friend of mine. He was not familiar with Brandi Carlile's music. And I said, you know what? You need to be here. He's a Black gay man. He was very upset about the direction of the Supreme Court, as you know, was I. And I said, you need to be here. This is going to be healing. Mm-hmm. And the music itself, the crowd that goes to see Brandi Carlile, first of all, is kind of like a family. People were talking with one another. People know her songs. It's really a beautiful environment to be at one of her shows. And, you know, she didn't talk about it for a while, but when she did, she addressed the pain that people were feeling. She gave the audience permission to grieve. And then also, you know, that night she ended her piece, her set, with her song Stay Gentle, which is really a call to not allowing the kind of horror to change you as a human, to the point where it harms you. But also to stand up for what you believe in. And then she morphed that into Over the Rainbow and had the colors of the pride flag behind her. So in this moment, I was just speaking with someone else about how things that aren't inherently political can be political. So just by having the colors of the rainbow flag and singing Over the Rainbow, you know, Judy Garland is so meaningful to queer people historically. So just having that, she is showing people that she's with us, and she does speak out when she needs to, and, you know, talks about the difficulties that queer people face, that, you know, all sorts of marginalized people face.
And we're calling Brandi, well, she is our icon of the year.
Yeah.
Who are some of Brandi's icons?
Oh, well, Joni, for sure. But her biggest, her hero of all time is Sir Elton John. I believe she first performed as him when she was a kid. She did Crocodile Rock on a local stage somewhere in Washington. And she has subsequently gotten to know him. She's become his friend. She performed at his farewell concert at Dodger Stadium. She came out and sang the George Michael part of Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, which was just astounding. So Elton John is a big, big, big fan of hers. And she also notes that she was impressed by the Elton John AIDS Foundation and the work that was done there as, something that maybe like a little bit of a beacon for the Looking Out Foundation. For a behind-the-scenes look at Brandi Carlile's photo shoot, or to learn more about the 100 most impactful and influential LGBTQ+ people being honored this year, go to out.com, sign up for email alerts, and be the first to know. The National Museum of Women in the Arts is set to reopen in Washington, D.C. The museum has just completed a roughly $67 million renovation that spanned more than 2 years. The museum says contemporary exhibits highlight the remodel of the 1908 building. It calls itself the first major museum just for female artists. It's LGBT History Month, and Netflix is celebrating with a new campaign that is championing those who are authentically themselves. It's called Keep Doing the Most, and they're doing it with the help of Troye Sivan. You can find The Most on Instagram and Twitter with the handle @Most, or at Netflix on TikTok. It gives glimpses of Netflix's queer characters and real-life fans. It's produced by an all-queer crew. Fans might recognize scenes from Sex Education, Heartstoppers, and others. It's all part of the platform's effort to celebrate the community and reflect on the work left to be done. There's a new film out of Netflix that calls out how society has shaped gender norms. It's called Fair Play, and it takes place in the high-stakes world of finance. One couple who works at the same firm battle for career positions. The Advocate Channel's Rachel Smith has more.
What are you doing?
You know it's just a game.
You played very well. Are you going to pitch me to Campbell?
I don't think it's a good idea. We both can't keep working here.
I'm not quitting.
Thank you for such a thrilling, thought-provoking, and dare I say, very daring film. I mean, this is really a unique viewing experience that I am still thinking about today.
I mean, yeah, that's why I made the movie. I just feel like this is something we need to be talking about. And, I think the problem is I feel like this is, and I feel like the way people relate to it is this is an unspoken thing that I think both men and women feel on a daily basis and have normalized, and this is something that I wanted to kind of sound the alarm on and say, we should be talking about this. This is not normal. And, this is getting in the way of healthy relationships.
Look into this. Let me know what you think.
I'm still working on the 3 from before.
Okay, we'll make this one the priority. Can I buy you another?
Now that you're making more money than me.
Oh.
It's interesting, a lot of men right now, the modern generation, they are evolved, they are progressive, they are feminists, they want to be supportive of their partner, but they were also raised sometimes by a generation that is in the past a little bit. And so they're kind of trying to reconcile those two things. So they're trying to do their best, but sometimes you still have these really sticky situations.
Yeah, no, and that's what I wanted to show with the character of Luke, that, it's not his fault for having these feelings. He adores Emily because of her talent. He adores her because of her ambition, but he was still raised a certain way, and there are certain things instilled in him, and this idea of course he wants her to succeed, but this idea also that he needs to get there first, because he's a man, and because of, what masculinity, means to him, and what society has told him masculinity is,
You're gonna end our relationship by setting off a bomb.
We all do filthy things, but we don't trick it back into the office.
I mean, Phoebe blew me away. I mean, people who watched her, all those people, millions of people watch her on Bridgerton.
Yeah.
What an absolute opposite performance for her, because the absolute, what do you think Bridgerton's fans are going to think when they see this performance on screen?
I think that, it's, I really think Phoebe can do anything, and I think if you were a fan of Phoebe from Bridgerton, you're going to be a fan of this, and it'll definitely shock you more than Bridgerton, but I think that that's a good thing.
More shocking than Bridgerton. That's a good quote. That'll get people to watch for sure. Forget the corset. The suit is much more powerful, for sure.
Yes.
And it was interesting
To accept that I deserve that job.
I never got the shot!
This job,
It's killing us.
You can watch the Advocate channel live by downloading our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate channel, I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and thank you for watching.